What is up, peeps? Mr. Kenobi here, back again with kind of a vlog video. I haven't been posting anything onto this platform in the last 6 months. I was on tour, summer holidays, and the summertime was was in between. And I don't know, I just didn't have the muse or the idea for the right content, so I didn't post anything. But that day is over, and today is one of those content posting days. I just thought I'd share this wonderful story how I got my hands on a mid-60s vintage kit from Japan from the company Star. Now, for all the drum nerds out there, you might know that Star was the company before it turned into TAMA. I found a pre-TAMA vintage drum set in Nuremberg on a flea market about 6 months ago. You've probably seen it in a couple of my videos. This is my Gretsch square badge from the early 80s. I learned to play drums on this wonderful kit when I was about 4 years old. I've known this kit for over 40 years. I know how to tune it. I know how it sounds. I know what to expect. This is my kit, my personal kit. But now it's time to set up to an old vintage drum kit. Quick backstory, about 6 months ago, I was on tour with a swing band production, Sinatra and Friends, which is a UK-based production. I was the drum tech and the backliner for that tour. And towards the end of the tour, we had a show in Nuremberg in South Germany. And there was a flea market in front of the venue. Well, I did expect to find drums, but I didn't expect to find these drums. And I'll post a picture right now. I'll blend in a picture of how the first initial sight that I saw. So yeah, I found these drums which were in a terrible, terrible, terrible state. Yeah, I was curious. I asked the guy, like, hey man, what do you want for these drums? And he wanted 40 euros for the drums, which is a steal already. But I managed to haggle him down to 25 euros for the shells. There was a whole bag full of hardware as well, but this was all for the TAMA stuff. So I got all the TAMA hardware plus the shells for this kit, and I didn't know what company it was. So I posted on my Instagram and asked a couple of friends and or colleagues, and they pointed me out into, like, it could be this company, MIJ, I believe it was one of the companies that were mentioned. However, I bought the kit, threw it in the bus, left it there for a couple of days. A few shows later, we had a stop in Berlin, and close to Berlin, there's a drum refurbished shop. Pommerenke Schlagzeugbetreuung. I'll post a link in the description below to his website. He's an old punk rocker. He's been restoring drums and been working on drums for over 40 years. All the big names, all the big bands show up at his place when they need someone to tend to their drumming needs or to their hardware and restoration needs. So I thought, hey, that'll be the best place to run up to. 6 months have passed since, and a lot of repairs have been done. Let me just flip this camera around and show you. You saw the before on the pictures. These are the Star drums after. Now, as you can see, it's absolutely phenomenal what he did with the shells and how clean they are. The hardware, is chrome. The hoops are new. The wrap is new, because the original wrap was a white satin flame. And I used to have a satin flame kit, which was a Gretsch Catalina in blue satin flame, but the newer version, not the old school version. So I had a rough idea how it was going to look, but I wanted to stay with the original theme, the white theme, as close as possible. So I chose the white marine pearl as a wrap for this one. And I put a calfskin bass drum head just to get that extra warmth. Some G1 heads at the top and bottom, coated, and I have no muffle in the drum, so I put a Evans EMAD on there, so I can get some different tones out of that. But yeah, this is the after. Now, that is an absolute killer difference. So yeah, there you have it. That's the Star kit from the mid-60s. Now, I picked it up on Friday last weekend. I drove 3 hours to Berlin, but I did have a show on Friday and on Saturday. I had a cover gig, so I thought, hey, no better place to break in these drums than on a cover show on the famous Reeperbahn in Hamburg. The initial idea was to make a sleeper build. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware what a sleeper build is. A sleeper build looks really shitty from the outside, but generally sounds really good, or the inside is really good. Since the wrap was in such a terrible condition, we decided to, just upgrade the whole thing. The plan for today is to tear down my lovely Gretsch and exchange it for the Star kit. This is going to take me, I would say, about half an hour or so. I'm going to take my time with the setup. There's a couple of major differences when it comes to the setup. For example, on the Gretsch, on the tom situation, I have a hoop with this tom clamp right here. Obviously, that's not going to work with this one, so I'll have to default to a spare snare stand to put the rack tom on, which is going to change the position of the tom considerably, because I really like having my toms a little bit hung over the bass drum, which won't be the case if I use a snare stand. I already noticed that on the weekend. Shell sizes, 22, 13, 16. But even though it's a 13, it's a really shallow drum as well, so it's not deep, so I still got that attack. But yeah, man, that's the kit, and let's see how this changeover goes. The setup initially feels good. That's the main thing, and the microphone setup wise, I can always tweak as I go along. Some certain stuff that I like to do, especially if I have toms that are sitting on a snare stand, I like the snare stand to clamp onto the inside of the rim and not let the rim sit here. I don't know why, it just feels like that sometimes it chokes the shell, and if it's just lying on this rim right here, there's still some space to make the shell sing. Calf tone, I don't have any holes in there, so I'll have to pick it up from the front. This is a cheap Thomann kick mic, by the way. This is not in, what do you call it, AKG or whatever it is. This is just a cheap Thomann bass drum mic. Look in the video description for all the mics that I'm going to be using on this drum set. It's all in there. Yeah, so what did I do tuning wise, or to help me get to tuning right for this drum kit? So for the floor tom, I have just a couple of cotton balls in the bottom to give it like that natural gated sound. I think there's not enough cotton in there, so I'll have to throw a little bit more. What I've done so far is I've lowered the reso head so the sustain drops off, but on 2 lugs I've loosened the tuning rods to finger tight, so it naturally like just so it doesn't sustain too long, and the cotton balls in there help a little bit as with the gating and everything. On the rack tom, I didn't touch anything at all. This is pretty much the same tone I received when I picked up the tom itself, and when Pomis was tuning it out of the box. And the same with the kick drum. I haven't tuned the kick drum at all. Not a single thing. It's fairly tight, I would say. But I reckon the more I play it, since I have a calf skin up front, and the calf skins tend to loosen up over time anyway, so you have to retighten them. So I'm going to play that like for a week or so, and then maybe tighten it up from time to time. But other than that, dude, Killer good. Killer good. Oh yeah, cymbals. I have a pair of 15-inch Zildjians from the 60s. This is a Stagg medium EXO crash in 18-inch. This is a Funch from Denmark, 22-inch hand form bell ride. And this is another Stagg. This is a 20-inch ride that I broke on a show. And I'm using that as a secondary, very dark auxiliary crash. So yeah, that's the setup so far. And man, dude, I'm really happy. Really, really, really happy. So there you have it. An original 60s, not TAMA, well, pre-TAMA Star kit. All refurbished and renewed from how it looked like on the flea market. Yeah, if you have any questions regarding the drum set, let me know. And I'll post most of the relevant stuff, like the drum store or the workshop who repaired this, what kind of mics they use, cymbal, it's all in the description below. Yeah, but if you have any further questions, let me know. Peace.